One.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Rowe. We're looking on Problem Stat Part A. This is Lesson 7, and we're going to do a similar example to number 11. So let's take a look at our similar example. Yours is about Mensa scores. This is about being considered for a scholarship. So to be considered for a scholarship, you must be in the top 5% of scores on a standardized test. In order to be considered, what must you score if the test has an average score, that's important, of 1,064, and a standard deviation of 174. So in this lesson, we talk about z-scores and how to use z-scores to figure out individual values. So this is kind of what we're doing here. So we're going to use the z formula, which is that z, the z-score, would equal the value minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. So now, we know everything but the value. So Mr. Rowe, you don't know the z-score, but we can find the z-score. So that's the first thing we have to do is we have to go ahead to our z-table and we have to find the z-score. There is a link to the z-table in the lesson assignment. So use that z-table. So here is the portion of the z-table that we're going to need. Now we're looking for the top 5%. So what does that mean as far as what we're looking for in z-scores? So the top 5% would be in this tail. That's not where the z-score is. The z-score would be 100% minus that value. So 95%. So basically what we're doing here is we're subtracting 1 minus 0.05 to get 0.95. So that's the value we're looking to kind of get close to in our z-table. And if we look right here, that is the value closest to 0.95. I mean, we could technically use this one, but we're going to pick the one that's got 95. So let's use that one. So we're going to use 1.6. And if we go right there, that's a 5. So our Z score that we're going to focus on is 1.65. So that's what we're going to use in our table or in our formula. So come over here to our formula. Substitute everything you know. We know that we have a z-score of 1.65. We know that we have a mean, or we don't know the value. We know that we have a mean of 1,064. And we know that we have a standard deviation of 174. Now, how do we solve this equation for x? There's two steps here. First step is to multiply by 174. 174, Mr. Rowe, not 175. So we're going to multiply by 174 on each side. So we have 174. I'm still trying to write 5. 174 times 1.65. That's going to equal x minus 1,064. And then we're going to add 1,064 to each side. And that's going to give us our value for x. So I'm going to do this calculation in the calculator. I'm going to do 174 times 1.65. Then I'm going to add 1,064. So let's pull out our handy dandy graphing calculator. And we're going to do this calculation. So move this over here so we can see what we're doing. If you don't have this calculator on your device, please let me know. I can send you directions for how to get it. We got 174 times 1.65 equals 287.1. Add 1,064. And guess what? In order to be considered for this scholarship, you will have to score at least, I'm going to put it over here so you can see it, 1,351 on that standardized test. So I hope this helped you figure out the value we're looking for in number 11. If you're struggling with this as you're doing it, please let me know in a teacher message or make an appointment for a help session.